For this section, we are going to discuss perimeter. Okay, so perimeter, just kind of generally speaking, is the distance around a polygon and can be found by adding the length of all the sides. Okay, so you know we love a definition. So again, perimeter is just the distance around some kind of a figure. We're going to look at a lot of different polygons, and we'll also look at circles. Okay, so to find the perimeter of a polygon, you just add the length of all the sides up and then just make sure you tack on a unit as long as a unit has been given to you. Okay. We'll also talk about circles. They're kind of a little bit different. So that's at the end of this worksheet. So for our first video, we're just going to look at the perimeter of a rectangle, which is probably the easiest possible situation we have out here because we're all pretty familiar with this one. So we do have a formula. Let me keep that. There we go. So the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is you take 2 times the length and you add it to 2 times the width. And that should kind of make sense if you think about it. So if you've got a rectangle over here, okay, we have some length and then we have a width and then we have the same length and then we have the same width. So if we add up the length of all the sides, let's say we start at the top, the perimeter would be the length. So we're going to start at the top and then go clockwise. So we would have a length plus a width plus a length plus a width. Well, how many lengths do we have? We have 2 different lengths. Well, not different. We have 2 lengths. And then how many widths do we have? We have 2 widths. So we would just rewrite this as 2 lengths plus 2 widths, which is exactly the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. Now, if you want to just add up all 4 sides, that's great. If you want to use the formula, also great. It doesn't bother me either way. Okay. So for example, when it says find the perimeter of each rectangle or square, include units with your answers. Well, for part A, we're dealing with feet. So we want to make sure our final answer is some number with feet tacked onto it. So we have that the length is 14 feet and we have that the width is 6 feet. So the perimeter is going to equal 2 times 14 plus 2 times 6. So we want to make sure we follow the order of operations, which means we want to do the multiplications first, the additions second. So 2 times 14 is 28. 2 times 6 is 12. And then finally, we just want to take 28 plus 12. So 28 plus 12, we'll see plus 10 will be 38, plus 2 more is 40. So we would get that the perimeter of this rectangle is 40 feet. And if you wanted to add up 14 plus 6 plus 14 plus 6, you'll get the same thing, okay? Now, certainly use your calculator for side work if you want to, but you have to at least show us your setup. So the work that I showed you down here, where I filled in my formula, we at least have to see that, okay? Now for part B, we do have a square. And the reason I know this one is a square is it only lists one side length, okay? So we can kind of assume since they've only listed one that all of the sides are 4.2 meters, okay? And when you're dealing with a square, you could certainly use the regular formula for the perimeter of a rectangle, but with a square, it's a little bit different because all 4 sides are going to have the same length. So if you're dealing with the perimeter of very specifically a square, you could just do 4 times whatever the side length is. So here we could do 4 times 4.2. Well, I'm going to do the side work here. It never hurts to remind ourselves how to do some of these operations. So 4.2 times 4. We multiply 4 and 2, which is 8. We multiply 4 and 4, which is 16. And then we look at the number of decimal points, or of decimal places rather, the number of decimal places in our factors. We have 1 decimal place, so that means my final answer needs 1 decimal place. So I would say the perimeter here is 16.8, whatever the units are. So 16.8 meters. Okay. Now, again, for a square, you could use the regular perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, but we can do this little shortcut here because the length and the width end up being the same exact measure in a square. Okay. So that is the perimeter of a rectangle. In the next video, we'll look at the perimeter of a triangle.